hear all over the internet these days, this is how I bought a multifamily deal with zero money down. This is how I bought an apartment building with no money down. You can get into apartment deals with no money down. You can get 100% financing for your multifamily deals. All of this stuff you hear on the internet. The question is, can you really do it? Or are they just trying to sell you a course? And here's the thing. The answer is welcome back to another episode of the Aparti Fi Podcast. I'm your host, Roddrick Jones, and I'm excited that you're joining me here on another episode. On today's episode, we're talking about, is it really possible for you to buy a large multifamily deal with zero money down? Let's get into it. So you hear all over the internet these days, this is how I bought a multifamily deal with zero money down. This is how I bought an apartment building with no money down. You can get into apartment deals with no money down. You can get 100% financing for your multifamily deals. All of this stuff you hear on the internet. The question is, can you really do it? Or are they just trying to sell you a course? And here's the thing. The answer is yes. You can really buy an apartment deal with no money down. And what no money down really means is zero of your own money down. But there still has to be some money down. It just doesn't have to be yours. And on today's episode, that's what we're breaking down. How to buy an apartment building with no money down. Let's get into it. So in multifamily, when you're doing large multifamily deals, one of the most common structures that you hear about today is syndication. And basically, a syndication is when you take a lot of people's money, you put into one big pot for a specific purpose. And that specific purpose is to buy multifamily deals. So a syndication can be used for any other purpose. You can take a syndication and you can use it to buy businesses. You can use it to buy a car. You can use it to buy a horse. You can use it to do whatever you want. But for this podcast, we're talking about multifamily. So a syndication is when you take a lot of investors' money, you put it into one pot, and then you take that pot of money and you go and buy an apartment building. That is what a syndication is. And so when people say that you can buy an apartment building with no money down, one of the biggest or the most common deal structures that they're using today is a multifamily syndication. So when they say you can buy a deal with no money down, you can. It just doesn't have to be your money. You don't have to put your money down, but somebody has to put a down payment. So when you're going to finance a multifamily deal, maybe you're going to get 75% LTV, which is loan to value from the bank. The bank is going to give you 75% of the money to do this deal. Now you're left with 25%. You still need to put down 25% to do this deal. And the question is, what the heck am I going to do? I'm buying a $10 million deal and I do not have 25% of $10 million. What do I do? This is where the no money down strategy comes in. This is where you're going to choose your structure. Are you going to choose how you're going to structure this deal? And like I said before, the most common structure that people are using today is the syndication model. So you're going to say, okay, I'm going to syndicate this deal, meaning that, as we said before, I'm going to raise money from a lot of different investors, put their money into a big old pot, and then I'm going to take this pot, this pool of money, and I'm going to put it as the down payment for this multifamily deal that I'm going to buy. So you're buying a multifamily deal. The bank is going to require you to put down 75%. You're going to raise money, also known as you're going to syndicate money from investors for the 25%, and then you're going to put it into the deal. Now, when you syndicate this money for the 25%, you're like, okay, the bank gave me 75% and investors gave me 25%. How the heck am I making money out of this transaction? That is a great question. So we're going to focus on the 25% down. When you need to put down 25% and you're doing a syndication is normally broken up into two pieces. The first piece is the general partner, and the second piece is the limited partner. And you'll hear it called GP or LP in the industry. A general partner, which is the person like you who needs the money to do the deal. And a limited partner, or your investors, are the people who wants to put money into a deal. So when you're doing a syndication and you're raising money, you're going to have two separate entities. One is the general partner, one is the limited partner. The general partner is going to go to your limited partners, your LPs, and say, hey, the bank needs us to put down 25%. I don't have 25%, but here are the returns of this deal. It's looking like it's going to pay this much in IRR. It's going to give you an 8 to 10%, maybe 50, maybe 6% pref. And in exchange for that, you're going to get a percentage of the profits, and I'm going to get a percentage of the profits. And then once they say, okay, I agree to that, they give you the money and you go out and do the deal. Now, your next question would be, how much percentage of the profits am I supposed to give investors for allowing me to have their money? Well, the question is, it depends. Always consult with your lawyer. Always consult with all of your securities attorneys and all your financial professionals before you do a deal. The most common structure is a 75-25 split, meaning that 75% of the profits when you sell the deal is going to go to your investors, also known as your limited partners, aka your LPs, and then 25% of the profits is going to go to you, the general partner, for putting the deal together. So when going out to do a deal, investors are going to get 75% of the profits. You're going to get 25% of the profits. And that is standard across the board. Sometimes you'll hear an 80-20 split. Sometimes you'll hear a 50-50 split. Sometimes you hear 65-45. But the thing is, it's really whatever you negotiate and whatever you and your investors agree upon. So let's do an example. For example, you want to go out and buy a $100 million multifamily deal. How do you do it? And you don't know. Let's go back. You want to go out and buy a $100 million multifamily deal and you have no money to do this deal. How do you do it? No. You want to go out and buy a large $100 million multifamily deal. You have no money to do this deal and you want to do this deal with no money down. How the heck do you do it? Well, you're going to use your syndication structure that we just talked about. You're going to say, okay, I'm going a $100 million deal and I need financing from the bank. And the bank has agreed to give me $75 million of the $100 million that I need. Now I'm left with a 25% down payment. That 25% down payment means that I need to come up with $25 million to do this $100 million deal. Now you say, okay, I don't have $25 million, so I need to raise it. And the model that I'm going to choose is a syndication model. So then you go and you say, I need to raise $25 million from my investors. So what you figure out is, how much can I pay investors back on their money for doing this deal? Can I pay them a pref? And a pref return, meaning, is also known as a preferred return. And this is how much investors make before you ever make a dime. So can I pay them a 6% preferred return? Do I pay them no preferred return? Do I only give them some of the profits and none of the just do the profit splits? What is a good deal for me? So let's say you decide that we're not going to do any preferred returns. And we're going to keep it simple and we're going to do a 75-25 split. So you're going to go to your investors and you're going to say, hey, I'm buying this $100 million deal. The bank has agreed to give me $75 million to do this deal, and I am raising $25 million to do this deal. In exchange for you giving me $25 million, I am going to give you 75% of the profits, and this will allow you to hit a certain IRR, which is maybe between 10 and 15% IRR, and I'm not going to give you any pref. And the whole time for this deal is between 5 and 10 years. Would you be interested in investing in this deal? Then investors are going to say, yeah, I'm interested in investing in this deal. How much money are you putting in this deal? This is where you don't get fancy and say, well, I'm going to do this and this. If you're not putting any money into the deal, you just tell them that straight up. And you say, hey, I'm putting this deal together. I don't have any money going into this deal. And because of this, this, and this. And you let them know, I'm not putting any money into this deal. I want you guys to put money into this deal so that way I can go out and buy it. And maybe on the next deal, I'll put money in. Or you say, I don't have any money to put in this deal, and I will in the future after I do this deal. So I want to do this deal. And after I get done with this deal, then I'll put money into this deal. Maybe some investors will say, hey, come talk to me on your next deal. I don't feel comfortable with you not putting money into this deal. Then you just say, okay, thank them for their time and move on to the next investor. Every investor is not going to invest in a deal if you're not putting money into the deal, but you have to be upfront and honest and let them know that you're not putting money into this deal, maybe because you don't have it, or maybe because your funds are tied up somewhere else. Whatever the answer is, make sure you let them know ahead of time and don't just hit them with a surprise later on. So some investors will invest, some investors won't invest. You keep doing that same pitch until you raise your whole $25 million. Once you raise your $25 million, you go to the bank and you say, hey, you agreed to give me $75. I have the $25 million down payment. You close on a deal, you execute your business plan, and everybody's happy. So can you buy a multifamily deal with 0% down? Can you buy an apartment building with 0% down? The answer is yes. How do you do it? You go out and raise it. It doesn't have to be your money. You can go out and raise it from investors. Just use their money to buy a deal, and you're in the deal for $0 down. So it's possible. If you would like to learn how to buy multifamily deals with $0 down, go to apartifi.co/0 down, and we have something for you. So that is it for today's episode. Make sure you leave a like. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you leave a like. Make sure you share, and make sure you subscribe to the show. And if you got anything from it, if you learned anything you knew, if you learned that you can do a deal with $0 down, make sure you share it with someone and let them know that you're listening to the Aparti Fi Podcast. That being said, I'll see you on the next one.